Peace family. So we back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how most will not like how you present information to them. They don't like how you talk. They don't like the energy and emotion that's communicated with them. You know what I mean? And what I've been realizing is along this journey is if someone has a blister, a splinter, a cut, a gash, anything in those manners where it's like physical infliction done to them, it's never an easy process soothing or helping someone in that space. If you ever tried to help somebody who had a splinter in their finger, it doesn't feel good either doing it with your nails to take it out or with the tweezers. Everybody still gets a little edgy about someone else digging into them to try to help them. And that's no different than when you go to the doctors, they're doctors, you know, and you have to get stitches or anything of those manner. It never feels good. Most of those people, you wouldn't look at them as trying to hurt you or harm you, you know, and you don't really look at your own insecurities or your own things that you aren't really that comfortable with going on within. You don't really look at those when you have that stuff going on, you know, and that has to do with being mostly a 3D being. But then when you have the spiritual tie and connection to it, and what I mean by the way we communicate, I've had several people, you know, communicate with me in my past, recently. It could have been years ago. It could be just as of a couple days ago, you know. And I always have worked on my communication. I've always worked on my energy and emotion. So I know if I know others who process the way I do have done the same thing as well. But unfortunately for us, we are going to speak in a healing manner however we see fit. We will speak in a healing manner however we see fit, you know. So for a lot of us, what I mean by that is for the people that we allow in our space, whether we just having a little short engagement with them and we are invested in them, or we're having a long engagement and we're invested in them, or you may not even be invested in somebody and you just have to drop that knowledge and information out there to them. Someone said to me recently in a message, like, they was afraid of me because I was making them look at things to heal, to work on certain things that they didn't want to and they wasn't ready for, and they didn't understand it at the time of when it was happening, you know. And when people really want to grow and heal and shift into a different being, or they want to try to get back in your picture, the role that you played in their life and the seeds that you planted are irreversible. If I threw apples all around your house and you happen to start sprouting apple trees up, but you picked up the hardcore apples, that's just still a product of my fruits that I had left around your vicinity. So when they said like it was a little hard for them, you know, and it kind of scared them being around me, I realized it wasn't really them being afraid of me. It was more so of them being afraid of themselves. And because of the way we present ourselves and the way we present energy, a lot of beings tend to take it in that manner, as if we shouldn't say certain things that's going to make them look at themselves a certain way, or we shouldn't say things that's going to help them become a better version of themselves. Now, the tricky part with that is we ain't got to say shit. We don't have to say anything at all whatsoever. But the same way the opposition gets pushed to do witchy stuff, they always got to do something sneaky, something betrayal. They always have to like make sure it's some physical transaction done in between their engagements, or they're on top. The same way they're forced to put out that vibration, we're forced to put out our vibration. That's where they get the concept from. It's like, oh shit, the universe has been operating with them forcing this vibration for a long time. now they have to work harder to force their vibration because that vibration is not natural. And I say that to say, most beings don't want to receive the information that's going to cause a little bit of pain, a little bit of irritation, a little bit of uncomfortability. But a lot of beings will go sit down and get tattoos and deal with that pain. So for us, we've always been in a space, and I just speak for we because I know it's a lot of beings out here that process the way I do. We just always been in that space where moving in God's light just always meant more to us, even when we didn't know what it was or why we felt so obligated to move in that direction or to move in that light. And what's crazy is, like, for me, I was telling one of my buddies that for a long time, like, I'm 37, I always emphasize that I've lived long enough now to gain my own damn experiences and to be able to put things together, research, learn, and put all of those sources together as well too. But I realized that most beings that come in my path, and just based off of my experience, because my spiritual being, because of who I am within, projecting outward to you guys, because of the way I process, the way we process, we're light years ahead of these beings. So when we slow down a little bit to kind of give them some insider information, it still usually takes them at least 2 to 3 years. I've had multiple people pop back up in my realm 2-3 years later, explaining or expressing how, oh, you was right, or you was making sense, or I didn't want to take in that information, or I felt this way at that time, or it was something, however that being worded it was something in place that showed that we operate light years ahead of these beings. And even with us operating light years ahead of these beings, it also shows that we have taken the steps ourselves to get there. Because even when they process, they realize that there's no shortcuts. Their team has a lot of shortcuts over there they can take. When you use the demonic playbook, it's a lot of shortcuts. It's not a lot of shortcuts over here. You do have shortcuts. That's why shortcuts is a thing. It's not like, oh, well, I go the godly way, everything has to be long, it has to be hard. No, there are shortcuts. But the thing with the shortcuts is, it's like, think of it like, most of you probably haven't played football or anything. Just using it for the ones who know football. Football field is what? 100 yards. 50-yard line is the middle. So if you get a kickoff, which they're going to try to kick it to the other end zone, so you have to run the whole 100 yards. You'll probably start at the 10 or 20 of yours, and then you have to get to theirs. So before the 50 is yours, and after the 50 is theirs. You're gonna throw long plays to try to get up the field. You know what I mean? But every pass, every run, you're not looking for 50 yards, 70 yards a play. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like reversing it to, let's say, the kitchen. You want to bake a cake really bad, but in order to get the cake to come out the way you would like it to taste, you have to follow the steps. Whatever steps you decide to skip, they are going to affect the way your food tastes, the way you would like your cake to taste when it comes out. The thing with the shortcuts is, if you want to shortcut a cake, you shortcut it by presetting the timer. You know what I'm saying? You figure out different ways to shortcut. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you already got all your items out instead of grabbing them out each item as you're going along making it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just want to take your shortcut process to the end. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I just want to pour frosting all over it. I don't really want to spread it and take my time with it. Pouring the frosting and spreading the frosting isn't going to shift the taste that much because you already got the key ingredient out the way. That's what a lot of us had been missing, was we wasn't shown how to do it the right way first, so that way we can take shortcuts and other avenues the way we want to. That's why we get confused and a little frustrated when they're telling us that we need money, we got to get money, We know these things. That's like telling me I need to eat food. I know I need to eat food. That's like telling me I need to drink water. I know I need to drink water. But that doesn't mean because I need water so bad, I'm going to go to this toilet or I'm going to go to this sewer. That's not what that means. So once we start being able to break these things down, and when people cannot take the way we communicate with them, we are very unorthodox to society. We say things that's unorthodox and that's out of the norm. And we're going to do things with our actions that's going to be out of the norm of society today. You know what I mean? And with us understanding that, we have to understand that we're actually moving in our God light by doing that and not following this demonic system in society that's going on right now. So when people are telling you that, oh, they don't like the way you're giving the information or all of these other things, because we hear a lot of things because most people don't want to deal with honesty or reality. But we have to realize that the issue is with them. It's not with us. So when you walk this life, you'll realize that you're still walking your light and pushing upward. These other beings are starting to find a level playing field, and then they start to rise a little bit, and then that's when they pick their head up spiritually, they was like, oh, okay, that's what TrakBeatz was talking about, because now they could see my locks, they could see the back of me all the way from down there. Before, they wasn't even looking upward. You know what I mean? They was just quick to shut it down, blank it out. Oh, you too aggressive. Oh, you too angry. Oh, this, oh, that. I've never seen somebody who cut themselves tell somebody, take it easy on the peroxide, take it easy on the alcohol. You know what people do? They brace themselves for that motherfucking burn. That's what they do. You got one on your leg, you like, you ready? All right, I'm about to pour it right now. Or however you manage your process. But I guarantee you, you're not telling that being, hey, you should pour it a little bit easier or a little bit lighter, or you should get a funnel and try to or matter of fact, get a turkey baster and just drop little droplets on there to make it easier for me. You know what I'm saying? You don't see people going out their way to get tattoos and then saying, hey, could you take it a little bit easier on me? No, you want them to do the job. You want them to get the job done. It's the same thing in the spiritual world, except they aren't perceiving things the way we perceive them, and they are between the other team and that gray area. We're on God's team, and we know these areas. So if we wanted to hit the gray area, we can. We didn't already lived and experienced how to operate in them demonic frequencies. You wouldn't make it to this space if you did not know how to operate in them demonic frequencies. That's just simple. So anybody that's done made it to this space, this far, this chapter in their journey, they've had to understand, they've had to experience those demonic frequencies. They've had to live in them. They've had to figure out how to survive in them, and they had to figure out how to excel in them. You know what I mean? It's a lot that goes into it. But understanding, like, who gives a fuck if they don't like how you present it to them? If somebody cut their leg or broke their arm and I said, here's the doctor, and they're like, wait, I don't like the way you said here's the doctor, I'm gonna go find my own doctor. Cool. That's their problem. It's just your job to drop the knowledge and information there. That's my job, to drop the knowledge and information there. You know what I mean? But we will be experiencing this a lot. So you kind of have to dance around with the beings and the ones that you know how to drop them seeds and that information on there. Because we're not going to stop doing it. Because what happens is we're too busy focused on having productive conversations. We're trying to keep our life productive and forwarding. So when we get around people who are dead, zombified, you know, just all of those weird witchy things in that space, we only allow them to engage with that weird witchy stuff, but for so long, with us or around us. We may give you 5-10 minutes, 20-30 minutes, depending on how long we're engaging with you, to get that spew out the way. But then we're going to figure out some kind of way to shift it back around, to drop some more knowledge and information out there, because we understand that the shift happens with us. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not going to always agree with you say with. That's obvious, you know what I'm saying? But you will have a lot of friction with trying to help other beings in the spaces that they're in. You know what I'm saying? So just don't take it personal if you are trying to help just because you want to. You know what I'm saying? There's not anything wrong with helping somebody just because you want to. You don't have to have anything in return. You don't need them to take in everything. You know, doctors don't give a fuck if you care if they helped you or not. You know what I'm saying? They just like, this is my job. They're doing it for a check. We're doing it because it's part of our spiritual process and our reward system as well too. We just don't see all the physical, tangible items behind it all the time. That's the only huge difference. But what happens with that is, even when you solid in it enough, long enough, the creator is gonna look out and make sure you good. You know what I'm saying? If you somebody who always had to worry about a car and you start focusing your energy that way, you're not gonna have to. What you have to do is keep those avenues open. That's what I do like to tell people. Don't just say, oh, I'm gonna give it to God. Yes, you do, but you have to leave the avenues open. Nobody could send you any money if you don't have a bank account, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, any of these things, right? It would literally have to be something miraculous, like splitting the Red Sea and somebody pulling up and dropping loaves of money off at your door or in your car or just wherever you are at. You make it easier for yourself when you keep the avenues open. Keep the avenues accessible. You know what I mean? But I ain't want to run up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.